Monday afternoon to you from Los Angeles, California, in the San Fernando Valley, on the north side, on the wow, it is loud. Anyways, we're in Van Nuys, in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles, the northern part of Los Angeles. The crowd is chanting Black Lives Matter behind me, very loud. Lots of people honking their horns on the streets. We're outside the Civic Center here. Large police presence. Police have a bunch of streets blocked off. We're outside the Civic Center. There's a courthouse, a federal building around here. Again, this is in Van Nuys in Los Angeles' San Fernando Valley. I'll flip the camera around. You can see people gathered here at Van Nuys Boulevard and Sylvan on all sides of the intersection, with the majority of the protest right here outside the Civic Center. Although people spread out, and I believe there's a police blockade down here. Momentarily, I'll show you somewhat of the police setup. Black Lives Matter chant, Black Lives Matter sign. No, don't shoot chant. Alright, so you can see outside the Civic Center here in Van Nuys, there's a police station right around here. Police gathered right here. More police walking down the street. They have blockades set up around the neighborhood and a bunch of helicopters hovering overhead. Or at least there were moments ago. Right now I see two. Lots of support, it seems, from people driving by honking their horns as police are marching. Oh yeah, I think Taylor's the one who pointed this one out earlier. I was told earlier, I think that there are about 20 people. There are definitely way more than that now. Probably a crowd in the hundreds, considering that the people spread out across all four corners of the intersection of Van Nuys and Sylvan, as well as a little bit on side streets. They're pretty densely packed here on the southeast corner of the intersection as they chant Black Lives Matter. And there's a lot of water as well. Thank you very much, sir. Hey, do you want to talk briefly on camera? We're live on YouTube. What brings you out today?
I believe in social justice. I believe we need equality.
Talk up a little.
Black people are often killed by the police, and we need to do better. And if we don't change it now, it will never change. This has been going on since my parents were kids and before they were born. I was not born in this country. I am adopted. I was brought here, and what's happening is terrible. If we're truly a free country, this has to change. And the protesters are not being violent. Those are completely separate people. The protesters are peaceful. So please, we need to change. And we need to get Trump out of office, because nothing will change as long as he is president. And I'm bringing water today just to help in what ways I can. I volunteered at COVID testing sites. I'm trying to do what I can. I'm just one person. Me by myself, I can't do anything. It's only as a group that we can do something. And we have to change it now. George Floyd was murdered, and he's not the only one. That's all I have to say. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's the water that this man has been setting up. Hard for me to give a solid estimate. I don't know, maybe 200, 300. I mean, that's just a really rough guess. Although there could be a lot of... I don't know about Skechers. Skechers where? Actually, a lot of people gathered right down here, down Sylvan. Let's go take a look what's going on down Sylvan, right near a police... What is there? I don't know. A lot of people gathering. So... east down Sylvan with a Jeep pulling up behind me, and across the street I go. Helicopter hovering pretty low, not hovering, circling pretty low. I've seen a bunch of choppers ever since arriving right around the Van Nuys Civic Center like 20 or 30 minutes ago. There are police gathered here, and there's a crowd that's growing. You can see these, the protest groups have split up here. You can see there's a line of officers. And a lady with a megaphone.
The LAPD, the gang of LA is here.
If you can't hear her, she's saying the gang of LAPD is here.
But this doesn't make sense. How are we alive? Walking in a world where society is Let me know! Why are we here? Let me know! Why are we here? We want justice! Say it with me! We want justice! 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 Not respect! Your ass to follow your lead! You can't even lead us! You can't even lead us! But all of us! Half of you!
As you guys can see, at this pocket of the protest, the protesters outnumber the police. Looks like a supervising officer over here is on the radio. I don't know if they're calling him backups.
We know you have thousands of meetings with us. You're with us, not against us. But how do you expect us to move it? With the kindness and passion. And you show up with us right here.
Can you guys hear the lady on the loudspeaker or no?
Getting detained for your officer. Last I checked, that's not what it was about. You get the badge on your chest.
Maybe I'm not seeing the comments. Am I not seeing the comments? Oh, you're saying no. Okay. I will move up closer to her.
Protect us, not scare us. You think I like somebody's head? Use me as your shield because I know you won't hurt me. No, I don't like it. I have students who question this every day. Who's next? I don't want to tell them. You don't want to tell them. I expect the future to be proud to put that badge on. I'm going to tell you for a fact, I considered joining you guys one day. But I said, fuck that. I would never want a bloody badge on my chest. Never in my life. I would rather stand here and take every hit and bullet you guys have. Because it doesn't start with you guys, and who would it start with? Us. Because you guys can't show us that you're here for us. You're against us. And I know a lot of you there are standing there regretting. And I hope you fucking regret what many of you didn't get to do. What happened to see something, say something? Huh? You tell us to say it. You tell us to keep our eyes peeled, but yet you guys can't? What's the difference? Just because you got a badge and a uniform? There's some different things here. You gotta be worse, you gotta be worse, and you gotta be worse. But clearly in the academy they teach you how to fucking remove that shit, huh? They teach you to lose all morals. All morals. Because that's not what it's about, being human. It's not what it's about. That's not what our people, our ancestors, our leaders, that's not what they wanted us to do. They wanted us to be one together, not against each other. Because I'm gonna tell you for a straight fact, this shit's getting annoying. And they're not even up among you getting it. This is getting mad annoying. Figure yourselves out. Talk among each other. I hope you guys don't go home the same. I hope you don't go home the same. You think half the things I saw in LA, you think I wanted to see that? You think thing I wanted to see innocent kids my age getting shot with these rubber bullets. By the way, fun fact about these rubber bullets. When they shoot, they're supposed to point you to the ground and scare you, not point it at you. They're supposed to point, but they're using them as real guns and bullets. Why? Because they know it leaves damage. And no one here can say they haven't seen the damage it's done, because it's everywhere. You guys have eyes everywhere. I don't get it. Figure it out. You guys are not above the law. You're the damn law. You're supposed to address it, not sneak around it. They're getting mad and
All right, let's go take an eye. This crowd continues to grow in size, yet it wasn't even the main part of the protest. As you can see, the protesters outnumber the officers right here on Sylvan, the edge of a parking lot east of Van Nuys. Let's head back to Van Nuys Boulevard and see what's going on there, if it indeed is still the main part of the protest. We're outside the Civic Center in Van Nuys, in the northern part of Los Angeles, in the San Fernando Valley. Across Sylvan we go, headed for Van Nuys Boulevard. Bicyclists coming down, and a motorcycle officer, or three, or a whole bunch, make their way north on Van Nuys Boulevard as the Black Lives Matter chant resumes on the corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan, which was the core part of the protest. This is the southeast corner of the intersection. This is where the most people from the main pocket of the protest are gathered, but there are also people gathered on the other three corners of the intersection. You can see a small crowd gathered on the northeast corner of the intersection, a slightly larger crowd gathered on the northwest corner of the intersection, and maybe a slightly larger crowd than that gathered on the southwest corner of the intersection. We have a Mexican flag here. Lots of support from drivers heading There are a bunch of water bottles. There may be some snacks as well. I'll give you another look at that for those of you joining. Before the beginning of this broadcast, I interviewed a man who appeared to have organized this or brought this here. So we've got a big stash of water bottles. Someone's saying, can we vote by car horn in the fall? Oh, the crowd where the bullhorn lady was is now on the move. More people gathered on Sylvan. The bullhorn lady's crowd is now heading in our direction for the corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan. We've got a supporter in this vehicle, Ford Fusion, right in front of me. Oh, wow. At the very least, this crowd is in the hundreds. This crowd is swelling as it now merges. I don't have anything locked in for my schedule today. I'm here for now. We'll see what happens here. This is a bit of a spot that's out of the way of where most of the action in Los Angeles has been to this point. This is we're in the heart of the San Fernando Valley. Most of the action has been over the hill in what people refer to around here as the city, as well as in neighboring cities like yesterday in Santa Monica and Long Beach. You can continue to do as you've been doing over the past several days and give me updates about other places where there's major action. But for now, I'm gonna remain posted here, as who knows what could happen. We've got a major police station, as well as a courthouse and a whole civic center complex right next to us. Police helicopters flying overhead. Who knows? Maybe this could be a new flashpoint. Mexico shirts. We've seen Mexican flags. Sir, you want to tell us what brings you out to the protest today? Okay, thank you. Now lots of, oh, I just missed protesters lying down in the intersection. I don't know if they blocked traffic, but they were lying down briefly in the intersection right here as the crowd swells at Vanna and Sylvan. And lots of honking horns from supportive drivers. You can see this, the bus system is still running here in Los Angeles. Last night it was a little eerie after curfew took effect to see wide open streets that typically are full of traffic, and once in a blue moon a bus driving by. Traffic isn't blocked, but it's a little obstructed. But people mostly remain on the four corners of the intersection. And it sure seems like most drivers are supportive of this. They might not be, but lots and lots of honking horns. Yes, this is the SFV. The crowd is now starting to drift a little further out into the intersection as there's a stampede now, as police appear to be enclosing. Although I don't see any shots fired. I don't know why police or why protesters are scrambling so fast. I see water bottles being thrown. Lots of water bottles being thrown as people continue to throw water bottles and pour into the street on Van Nuys Boulevard. As you can now see, the crowd is actually starting to return. They retreated and now they're going back to establish their position around the east side of the Van Nuys and Sylvan intersection. And tensions have ratcheted up here. As much of the crowd puts their hands up. I have a lot of battery left, not in the phone, but in battery packs. Traffic is now obstructed. Another water bottle thrown. Lots of water bottles have been thrown over the past couple minutes. Trying to get you a shot of a police line. Oh, okay. I do see an officer with a rubber bullet gun. Okay, you can see a police. I'll try to show you where police lines are forming. If I can. Actually, I see. You can't see them probably, but I see officers marching, hands on rubber bullet guns, and starting to point them slightly towards these. There's the police line straight ahead. One of them. You can see a police line forming on Sylvan, east of Van Nuys Boulevard.
Trust me, they fucking want these bullets. You don't want to go to the hospital because of something they did. Something that's right to shoot. Turn it over. Get out of the street. Get out of the street.
Oh, the officers are now marching. They're about to close on the crowd. I gotta get a new position. The crowd is really swelling. Now we have one lane of traffic blocked northbound on Van Nuys Boulevard as the crowd packs in closer. Some of them are taking knees, and it appears they try to be clearing the intersection. Someone said it's all mom and pop stores on the street. There are many. This is right in the heart of Van Nuys, which is in the heart of San Fernando Valley. It's an area with a lot of bail bonds, pawn shops, lots of mom and pop shops, car sales down the street a ways. Well, it's not perfectly centrally located in the San Fernando Valley, but in effect, it's like the capital of the San Fernando Valley with the Civic Center here and the courthouse and the federal building. You can see the crowd is very densely packed on the northeast corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan. Some are now migrating back and forth across Van Nuys Boulevard. Helicopters continue to circle overhead, and I mean circle, not hover. Here's a low-flying one. And I'll try to get you a better angle so you can see the police line as I walk across Sylvan. And I'll try to get posted up on top of some step outside the Civic Center. Crowd is clapping. Here's a little bit of an aerial of the crowd. Helicopter. Now the crowd is marching mostly in my direction toward the Civic Center and the southeast corner of the intersection. The police remain idle east of Van Nuys Boulevard on Sylvan. The lady who was leading the protest with a megaphone earlier, the one in the blue hat, I don't know if you can make her out. She is walking very close to the police line and being ordered to back off. She's now walking with her hands up and her back turned to the police. Someone's saying nothing good to loot in Van Nuys. I really don't want it to get to that point. The last couple days have been enough of that for me.
Sam, we're right behind you, okay? Right here, okay?
I can't breathe chant starting up. And horns honking like crazy.
I can't breathe! 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 I can't breathe!
I would guess at this point the crowd is swollen above 1,000. Just a rough estimate. And there are people who continue to remain on the other corners of the intersection. Oh, wow. There's an officer. Everyone is screaming at this one man to get out of here.
Because he's starting shit.
As I could see, there was an officer pointing a rubber bullet gun directly at the crowd. A lot of protesters seemingly working together to get someone who might be an instigator out of the crowd. And now he returns. Or is that someone else? Right? There's the helicopter above. A bit of a calm breeze, literally, blows outside the Civic Center here in Van Nuys as the crowd calms down slightly. Horns still honking on Van Nuys Boulevard. Van Nuys Boulevard's open to traffic, nothing being blocked right now. However, Sylvan is not. Sylvan is now blocked. Protesters have filled the east side of the intersection. We got someone with a sign holding up out of the sunroof of a car that's driving by. chant, standing on top of whatever that big box is. George Floyd train.
George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd!
You got the Channel 7 news report right here. No, I'm not gonna photobomb them, but I would like to have a chat with them later. Oh, the crowd is dispersing. A bunch of people just ran north on Van Nuys Boulevard, and some ran across the street and are now over on the northwest corner of the Van Nuys and Sylvan intersection. I don't know if the police were ordering people to get out of the street, or maybe the protesters were doing that on their own. This protest actually seems relatively organized. Even though it seems like the crowd just swells as the day goes on. The so-called leader, as some of you guys have referred to him, is screaming, "This is a peaceful protest." You're welcome. One chopper hovering overhead west of here, at least one chopper circling. Officers on motorcycles driving north on Van Nuys. And the so-called leader is telling everyone to take a knee, which I'm not crazy about. Puts me in a line of fire if there were one. But the crowd really calmed down momentarily.
Show them that we are here to show them that we can be peaceful, but also prove our point. It's not okay.
Police line remains
Silence for all of those
east of Van Nuys Boulevard on Sylvan.
black people that died.
man in white with his fist, now 2 fists up, was approaching the police line. He stopped. It looks like this man in black continues to be directing the protesters to stay away from the police line and maybe even out of the street. This man in black, right around here. The lady who previously had the megaphone with the blue hat doesn't have it now, or it might be in her backpack. She continues to be in the middle of the street.
Your silence is deafening!
Your silence is deafening! Your silence is deafening! Your silence is deafening!
If it looks to you like the protesters far outnumber police here by the corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan, that's correct. However, there's a major police station right around the corner from here. And this is somewhat of a hub. I think it is the hub for LAPD in San Fernando Valley.
Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down!
Now it looks like this man's leading the chant, "Weapons down."
Weapons down! 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 Weapons down!
Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down!
Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down! Weapons down!
So-called leader on the box now stands up and chants again. Oh, is that so? Can someone confirm that? I noticed a comment saying ABC 7 is reporting it's been declared an unlawful assembly. Well, I think ABC 7 is right next to me. I'm gonna go chat. Are you with ABC? Which is
Australian TV.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, why is that an off-color microphone you got for ABC?
It doesn't print out properly.
But I mean, it's interesting to see that out here in the San Fernando Valley, you've got Australian television.
It is.
This is what's the channel called in Australia?
It's called Channel 7.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna head back up onto that place I was perched. But anyone who can, please let me know any update with regard to an unlawful assembly declaration. I haven't heard so, and usually when they declared an unlawful assembly, the police will whip out some loudspeaker and blast it out to people. All right, someone's saying just declared unlawful by LAPD. Anyone else confirming that? If so, the police are probably preparing to make a move on the gathering. Channel 7 kangaroo. don't think their channel's called Kangaroo. As now the crowd is swelling in the middle of the street on Sylvan, just east of Van Nuys, and some of them are now sitting down in the streets, directly in front of the protesters. You know what? I'm going to show you what this organizer facilitator is doing. You see this man straight ahead in black. He seems to be keeping the protesters away from the police line. I've noticed him a couple times motioning the protesters to get back when they start approaching the police line. And for the moment, there's a pretty comfortable amount of space between the police line and the crowd. Meanwhile, there's another police line 1 block east of here, straight ahead of me. And I've already seen that police have set up roadblocks around the neighborhood, and they do have a station here, so there could be officers converging on this area at any point. Here you see this man seemingly keeping people away from the police line. And I'll go back up to my perch on the southeast corner of the intersection. Where was I? Excuse me. Oh, now there's a large crowd running. Wow, very large crowd running west on Sylvan. Oh, police chasing after them. The police are moving in. Police officers are moving in a hurry. And a large crowd runs east on Sylvan. As police form a line, basically encircling Officer impressed, just letting you know. So there's now, you've got motorcycle officers setting up a blockade of northbound traffic on Van Nuys. And now I need a march as the police line encircles me. So a large portion of the crowd was chased off. They went running eastbound on eastbound on Sylvan. Now, one cop's got hands on the rubber bullet gun, finger on the trigger, holding it close to protesters who have their hands up on the, now walking away from the northwest corner of the intersection. Yeah, I was really hoping to get my new helmet before this situation unfolded, but here I am again. You know what? There might be someone in the audience who's capable of bringing me a helmet, even if it's just a baseball helmet. That would be amazing. I don't know if we could pull it off, but I do know a lot of people around here, given that I actually grew up in the San Fernando Valley. Police have established their position south of the intersection, on the west side of the intersection, and protesters for the most part are retreating to, those who remain that is, are retreating to the, someone on the roof indeed. Someone on the roof on the northwest corner of the intersection. Actually, some protesters who ran off east on Sylvan are now coming back to the protest approaching the northwest corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan. Police with lines encircling the intersection from every direction except the north. Police line to the east, police line to the west that has already shut down the intersection, and police line to the south. Traffic now cannot get through Van Nuys and Sylvan. The man in the black shirt and black pants continues to direct people, and it looks like there are two officers gathered right next to him. Looks like there's somewhat of a conversation taking place between police.
Protest on the sidewalk, we will support you. We'll make sure you have the ability to do that, okay? And here's the thing. You can't stand in the street and stop traffic, and you can't start that. Hold on. We can't start vandalizing stuff, and we can't have it violent. If we have any of that kind of stuff, this is going to end immediately, and we're going to clear the streets. Anybody conducting any kind of criminal activity will be arrested, and we'll be brought out of the crowd, and we'll be processed and booked. Right here, right over my shoulder. Anybody have any questions?
Officer has officer.
You guys have a question about curfew? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Everyone listen to me carefully. The curfew for LA County and the city is going to start at 6 p.m. We are going to enforce that curfew. Here's the thing. Up until that time, I need you on the sidewalk, and we will facilitate your unlawful protest. Anybody have any questions? Come on.
Officer.
As you can see, I've already taken a couple of these.
Officer Hamilton. Officer, an unlawful assembly has not been declared. Has an unlawful assembly been declared?
Let's do what we gotta do.
All right, he doesn't want to answer the question. Officer Hamilton, that is. Can someone write down the name Hamilton? Let's see if I can talk to this officer even.
Let's make our message known.
Officer, has an unlawful assembly been declared?
Let's get out of the street.
Do you intend to declare an unlawful? Do you intend to declare an unlawful assembly?
No.
Okay. They declare it. I'm not saying it's a
Sidewalk.
Okay, so I didn't catch the other officer's name, but the one who's not named Hamilton answered my question, said no, an unlawful assembly has not been declared. Not yet. I don't know if the yet is telling. As I get back up on the perch on the southeast corner of the intersection, you can see, I mean, it's very strange how it appears, I don't know if this is just excellent coordination between the protesters and the police, but the police seem to have acknowledged this man in the black shirt and black pants as the leader of the protest, and they're speaking with him and telling him to give orders to the rest of the crowd. Officer Hamilton, that is, and I don't know what his rank is. I'm sure he's above just an officer. He wouldn't just be merely an officer. I don't know his rank though. All right, the crowd continues chanting, and you know what? I've seen it before where the police essentially coax the protesters into getting encircled. And then later the police declare an unlawful assembly and move on them. And I'm not saying I'm expecting that to happen, but that very well could happen. The police have not retreated. They have not given up their positions. They continue to hold on Sylvan east of Van Nuys Boulevard, on Van Nuys Boulevard south of Sylvan, and in the intersection on the east side. And it looks like police are gathered a block north of here on Van Nuys as well, although traffic isn't blocked off on that block. Chopper continues to circle overhead. Some pointing and screaming on the northwest corner of the intersection. I think Joe just moved to Spotify. I don't think he's gone forever. Alright, ABC 7, some looting seen on Van Nuys Boulevard near scene of protest. Can anyone confirm that? As I continue to see a man on the roof with a leg up next to a sign that says Logman Building on Van Nuys. Just actually a lot of people now, 4 people gathering on 2 next door roofs on Van Nuys, just north of Sylvan. Two guys are on top of a UPS store, and 2 are on top of a building that says Logman Building on it. Meanwhile, the man in the black shirt and black pants is now walking along with 2 other guys, as well as the 2 officers, directing people to stay out of the intersection. There continues to be coordination between the police and protesters, unlike anything I've seen in Los Angeles over the past 4 or 5 days. I'd like to get a better shot of them. For now, I'm gonna hold my ground. Earlier today, I did an interview with Luke Radowski that's on the We Are Change channel. And Luke and many others are keeping an eye out for instigators who may or may not have some relationship with the police. I was about to say it smells like sunscreen, and now our good friend from Channel 7, not Kangaroo 7, but Channel 7 over in Australia, is rubbing something on his face that looks like sunscreen. Maybe I need some of that as well, although I'm quite covered up. Kangaroo 7. One of you guys came up with it. Protesters get a little quiet as a older man walks through the crowd screaming 60s deja vu. What's not quiet is the low-flying chopper circling overhead. Over at the northwest corner of the intersection, there's a crowd gathered on both sides of police lines. Actually, the police aren't even really holding the northwest corner. They're trying to, it seems, but they definitely have a police line blocking the east side of the intersection. What do we know from this 87 report? ABC 7 report, excuse me. Not the Australia 7. ABC 7 is a Los Angeles channel. Bail bond shop possibly broken into. Well, there are lots and lots of bail bond shops on this street. Maybe we could confirm that, or maybe it's incorrect. And if it is confirmed, maybe we can figure out where. This lady who's offering water was previously the one with the megaphone, screaming as there was a crowd of maybe 100 gathered right up against the police over there. Now action on the northwest corner of the intersection. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but people in the northwest corner of the intersection are putting their hands up as police have given up their position in large part on the east side of the intersection, are closing in on the corner, the northwest corner. I don't know whether this is the only, I mean, I would guess it's not the only protest going on in LA right now, but do we know of others? Sorry guys, the city of LA just sent out some emergency alert that hijacks people's phones. I briefly got cut off, I think. Maybe I didn't. But you can hear people's phones going off as the city of LA, through maybe the assistance of telecom companies, hijacks control of people's phones temporarily. Westwood, what's going on in Westwood? The intersection has sort of opened back up. Some protesters now walking back and forth across Van Nuys Boulevard. Someone's saying yes, this is a setup, and that is something I'm concerned about, especially since I don't have my helmet today, or a helmet, period. If anyone could smuggle a helmet into this crowd for me, that would be tremendously appreciated. I am a little concerned that this could be a setup. As I was mentioning earlier, I have seen multiple times where LAPD lures protesters into a certain area. It seems like they're allowing the protest to continue, and then they declare an unlawful assembly and they close in on them. Here's our buddy on camera, but essentially live. What time is it in Australia? Who knows? Someone knows. Are we on ABC 7 right now? Protests in Anaheim. I heard yesterday, as I was focused on LA, Long Beach, and downtown LA that is, that there was action in Santa Ana. So maybe Orange County is heating up as well. For those of you who aren't aware, we're in the San Fernando Valley, which is part of Los Angeles, the northern side of the city. The guy on the standing up here, some of you referred to as a leader earlier. He's starting the no justice, no peace chant. LAPD or the city of LA keeps sending people alerts on their phones. I try to click off of it as fast as possible. You can still hear that buzzing sound coming from people's phones. Has this indeed been declared unlawful protest? I asked one of the supervising officers about 10 minutes ago, and he said to me, no, it has not been declared an unlawful assembly. He also said, not yet. Oh, there are officers now marching south on Van Nuys Boulevard in the direction of the intersection. And if they form a police line across Van Nuys Boulevard north of Sylvan, then they've just about encircled most of the protesters. I mean, they effectively have already encircled the protesters, but they're pretty close to finishing off a perimeter around the vast majority of the people here. Thanks for that comment. I am concerned, like I've been repeating, that LAPD is going to lure everyone into an enclosed space. A new conversation between police and protesters. It's taking place on the northwest corner of the intersection. This is far and away, since these George Floyd protests have started, the most communication and coordination I've seen between police and protesters. Lots of people, police and protesters, gathered at the northwest corner of the intersection. This is my spot right here. I might move later, but for now I'm here. So there's pushing. An officer just pushed, and a fire truck arrives. Multiple fire trucks driving north on Van Nuys Boulevard through the police line.
This is a peaceful protest! This is a peaceful protest! This is a peaceful protest!
I don't have a manager, but I do have an editor up in San Luis Obispo who will give you a talking to if you call her. All right, now we have an ambulance In addition to a hook and ladder truck, was there multiple fire trucks up north of the intersection. And I will head to the north side of the intersection and see what kind of glimpse I can get. Here's the police line east of the intersection. Right straight ahead, the northwest corner of the intersection, there had been some conversation appearing to be taking place between protesters and police. Now let's see what we can... Oh, the fire trucks are heading north of here. North on Van Nuys go police and fire trucks. Now turning left on maybe Victory, I'm not positive though. But they're turning west on a street 2 blocks ahead of me. The street after Friar. I don't know if that's Victory. The fire trucks are now east on whatever that street is, possibly Victory. A police line, or rather a cluster of officers. You see that this man in the black shirt and black pants across the street has been, as well as there's Officer Hernandez. His name was Hernandez, right? He has been, the man in the black shirt and black pants has been communicating and coordinating with that officer, I think his name is Hernandez, for much of the past half hour. And one man in the black shirt and black pants. Multiple police lines are south of the intersection of Van Nuys and Sylvan. You can see the one straight ahead, and then there are major reinforcements behind them. At the next street, which I think is Irwin, officers and motorcycles lined up, and many more of them than the ones you see straight ahead right here. Three helicopters in the sky right here. I've seen as many as 4 or 5 earlier. Oh, actually, I didn't notice this before, but this is a Chase Bank building, and there is some vandalism here. Not a whole lot. Doesn't look like people broken into here, but there is some vandalism. And I don't want to focus on that, given everything that's going on. Oh, police now marching into the intersection, heading east. Seems like officers are forcing people out of the east side of the intersection. As I plug in to my battery pack, I gotta adjust momentarily.
We want it to stay peaceful. We want to spread the message.
Alright, I should now be plugged into my battery pack. Just had to adjust momentarily. Humon Remit is back on. And now the officers have really built up their numbers on the the west side of the intersection. Van Nuys Boulevard north of here is open at least to foot traffic, and there are people on foot and a couple or more on bicycles heading toward the protest. As more people are walking into the intersection that the officers have been clearing out. Black Lives Matter chant going. And bicycle dude in black approaching. Now we've got several guys on bicycles gathered on the north side of the intersection. A lady pulling up on a bicycle too. What is Mara? You can see people continuing to approach the corner from Van Nuys Boulevard to the north. Really vehicle traffic, although there is a Toyota, gray Toyota pulling up right here. There continues to be Officer Hernandez. Is that his name? Someone remind me. I think it's Officer Hernandez. He's in the middle of the intersection speaking with other officers. Seems to be giving them directions. And he has been speaking extensively with the man in black, the black pants shirt, who's talking with protesters over on the northwest corner of the intersection. This guy in the Cal shirt straight ahead seems like he's having an interesting time. Cali, excuse me, not Cal. Looks like he's got a Corona in his hand, something like that, some beer. No justice, no peace chant starts up. A siren's coming from the north, southbound on Van Nuys. It looks like it's a fire department vehicle. Do we have any word as this fire command truck passes by. Do we have any word on what those firefighters were after? Do we know of a fire somewhere northwest of here? It's very interesting to see the officers, the commanding officers, I believe, gathered in the middle of the intersection. With respect to the protesting I've seen across the city the past few days, that seems to be a very vulnerable spot for them. There are many officers on the east side of the intersection, some in two parallel lines, or maybe just one line, south. There's that black shirt, black pants guy again, walking up to the officers, who appear to be the commanding officers, and talking with them. He's got his hands moving, they're communicating. There continues to be open dialogue between the protesters and the police, facilitated by this man who's with the protesters, who's in a black shirt and black pants. Potentially it could be a setup, potentially not. Maybe a fellow streamer with a backpack walking out in the middle of the intersection now. This is day 6. I unfortunately couldn't get to the action on Highway 101 in Los Angeles on day 1. I did cover the action on the 110 freeway, which protesters occupied on day 3 of the protests. But this is now 5 straight days of coverage for me. I've been out covering this days 2 through 6. Today being 6. This is the first time, though, I'm covering it north of the hills in LA, here in the San Fernando Valley. And there really hasn't been significant action in the San Fernando Valley until this point. With regard to the curfew, I was out pretty late last night. Downtown was getting to resemble a war zone, I would say. Not a full-on war zone, although someone, I believe, was shot and killed downtown last night. That's what the media report said. Oh, now we have... Can you guys see that? The man in white shirt and white pants walking up to Officer Hernandez and them bumping chests a little bit. Did you guys see that? Or am I too far away? I can't zoom, unfortunately. Unless someone knows how to zoom while streaming on YouTube. I'll cross Van Nuys Boulevard, but I don't want to. This is the white man. I mean, white shirt, white pants man. He just gave a little chest bump with Officer Hernandez. Oh, Hamilton. Thank you. Thank you. I've been asking for someone to confirm or correct that. It's Hamilton. Yeah, so this guy with the blue hat, it's very sunny, I can't see if I'm pointing right at him. The guy with the blue hat, white shirt, white pants, appears to be the second guy among the protesters who's coordinating with the police. He gave Officer Hamilton, not Hernandez, a chest bump. The two of them gave one another chest bumps moments ago. I have not heard any shots fired. There was a tense moment right around this very place.
Somebody arrested. That's just endangerment.
Tense moment maybe 45 minutes ago here, but I don't recall hearing any shots fired. Although at multiple points, the crowd did scatter and run in a couple different directions. Officer Hamilton is on the phone in the middle of the intersection. I apologize for that, guy. It was not the battery. My phone overheated. So I'm gonna, as officers march east across Van Nuys on Sylvan, I'm gonna remain in the shade a little while. It wasn't the Fed jamming my signal. My phone overheated. I'm fine, and I presume much of the audience will return at some points. So not much has changed. We do have officers putting their hands up now. This is new. Although I'm not gonna get close right now because I need to keep letting this phone cool down. Yeah, the problem was the phone overheated. So right now I'm standing underneath a tree and I'm gonna stay in the shade as officers continue to march away from protesters eastbound on Sylvan out of the Van Nuys and Sylvan intersection. As protesters scream peaceful protest. Marching east on Sylvan they go. There are still officers here. As protesters are saying, don't go into the intersection. Or was that directed at police? I don't know. For now, I'm gonna remain in the shade to try to avoid having this phone overheating again. It's not that hot of a day. I don't know. What's the temperature here? Anyone temperature in Van Nuys, California? It feels a little more humid than it typically does in the San Fernando Valley. All right, here's the man in the black shirt and black pants who's talking. He's been coordinating with the police throughout the event, or at least throughout the past 40 minutes or so, I would say. 90 degrees, 88 Fahrenheit. So that's probably a little under 30 for our international audience. It doesn't feel that hot, but it does feel a little humid. You can see, or I can see, the man in the black shirt and black pants who's been talking with the police throughout the broadcast, is now, he's speaking with the Cali dude. Do you guys remember the Cali dude? Who someone described as like a local drunk. No, I mean, I'm not saying that myself. There was a commenter saying that. But I think he had a beer bottle or two in his hands. The man in the black shirt and black pants who's been talking with the police is trying to direct the Cali shirt guy out of the intersection. The reason why I'm not going over there as a bunch of people return to this broadcast is that my phone overheated. That's why the feed went out for 5 minutes or so, maybe less. So right now I'm standing underneath a tree where there's shade and a breeze on the northeast corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan. And I'm gonna stay here so long as things remain calm for a while to let my phone continue to cool down. I'm not standing in a pothole, but I am standing in a crack on the street or along the gutter. Well, I'm not going to turn off the phone because then that's going to end the broadcast. But I'm in a location right now where there's shade. There's an ambulance now making its way through the intersection. And there's some traffic now also. So, white Mercedes is turning left onto Van Nuys from Sylvan, trying to get through a crowd of protesters. Okay, someone's saying car fire in Van Nuys east of the protest. The fire trucks were heading the other direction. The fire trucks were heading northwest of the protest. Those could be separate incidents. For a little while longer, I just want to remain underneath this tree to keep letting the phone cool a bit. But if action heats up as people pour more into the intersection, south of me there still is a police line. Actually, multiple police lines south of me. So the protesters can't advance south without running into a police line. Likewise, they can't advance right here, east of Van Nuys. Oh, you're saying lots of police vehicles behind the line. Yeah, there are lots of police vehicles all over this neighborhood. There's a major police station very close to us. And I've seen streets in the area blocked off already.
That's the name of my store.
That's your story?
Yeah, my store. I have a store.
Oh, that's your store?
Yeah.
Where's your store?
And then I Boulevard.
There's no traveling in Europe.
This man saying no traveling in Europe this summer. Tell me about it. But all these full restrictions. I am here broadcasting to you live right now. Out of focus, how so? I know I don't have the best lighting. I'm standing in some shade. But I think you guys can still see. There is something smoky. Oh, it looks like some incense someone is waving in the air. Sage, excuse me. I am not hip with it at all. For the most part, people remain gathered on the sidewalk, but there is some foot traffic in the intersection. And helicopter traffic again overhead. It's sage weed. I have no idea, but I don't smell weed. I don't see anyone drinking. Cali shirt guy, I think, had a bottle of beer, but I don't see anyone drinking other than water. Wait. So what is this Trump declaration? I'm just taking a look at comments right now. The National Guard's already been deployed in California, and specifically in Los Angeles. What is Trump declaring? I don't know how long I'll go here, but I'm not going to leave right now when we have so many protesters gathered here at the corner of Van Nuys and Sylvan, and there are still police lines around us. Yes, it has been peaceful here. There's been quite impressive coordination between the police and protesters, something unlike anything I've seen since these George Floyd protests have kicked off in LA. I don't think any rubber bullets have been fired, although there have been some tense moments. Is that so? Active military in DC? I don't know. 7 o'clock curfew for the entire country? Is that correct? Did Trump declare a curfew nationwide? Clifford's saying yes. If so, wow. And who all will enforce that? Someone's saying a 5 p.m. curfew for Van Nuys. Well, since the curfew was declared, I've seen protests continue on past the hour the curfew starts, although police tend to try to drive people out of the area. Tim's on. Okay, Tim's saying, he says he'll send in the military if governors don't deploy. I missed it all. If you guys, I don't know if Tim's live right now, maybe he wants to say, but when you guys happen to be looking for a channel that has feeds from streams all around the country, Tim's really good at providing that over on his Tim Truth channel. Lady Zaga is saying Tim is live. Helicopter flying a little overhead. It appears to be angled more in a direction northeast of here than directly on the protest. Or maybe due north of here slightly. helicopter hovering overhead. That might be a news chopper. Is there an LA channel with a live news feed of us right now? Oh, indeed. ABC 7, Bunny Tsukino says. As you can see, I think, police officers, including Officer Hamilton, remain gathered right here in the intersection, talking with one another. There's a police line south of the intersection with lots of police cars and motorcycles in back of them. Likewise, police on motorcycles straight ahead 1 block north of here, though they don't have a full blockade of the intersection. And police cars 1 block north of there as well. Most protesters... Oh, sir, could you talk with my live YouTube audience for a minute?
Yeah.
Could you introduce yourself and tell me what your work is in coordinating the protest?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Kevin Welbeck.
And just try to speak up a little bit because it's loud.
Kevin Welbeck, I'm the founder of Create the Change. Today, this is not my protest. We had one on Saturday in Hollywood, but we went up to the Hollywood precinct and we worked together with that police and we were successful, beautiful, peaceful protest. Today, I live in Hollywood. I heard about this day, I came down and I knew something needed to be done. I wanted this to stay peaceful. Black Lives Matter doesn't just mean the people that we lost, but the people that's to come, the people that are here protesting. These lives matter. And I didn't want nobody getting arrested, nobody getting shot. We've seen too much of that on the media. It's important that us leaders here, we're all leaders in some way, shape, or form. Us leaders step up and we control our groups. We fight and demand the justice that we deserve while keeping order, because it's only going to help, it's only going to work if we work together. The way that the police came in full force, ready to shoot, ready to do whatever needs to be done, and now they backed off. You don't see that on media. You don't see that anywhere else. Everybody, everywhere else is turning to rioting, looting. Today, my purpose here today is that it's not going to turn into that, because we're here with a message, and that takes away from our message. We need to make sure all 4 officers in the George Floyd case are persecuted and arrested and in jail for murder. That's what it is. The moment we stop focusing on that, and we focus on this here, we lose it. We're fighting for something bigger than today. We're fighting for something bigger than tomorrow. We are here together to fight for a change in our system, in our justice system, with the police, with our policing. Our enemy is not all cops. Our enemy, all cops aren't bad. Clearly today, the police come together with us. Our enemy is racist cops. Cops who abuse their power in a system that does not hold them accountable. That is our only enemy. We fight against them, we win. We gotta vote. We gotta get out there and vote. When it's time to vote, we gotta vote. And not just for the president. Trump might win again. I don't know. I'm not voting for him, but he might win again. But if we vote locally, we vote statewide, we put the right councilman, the right mayor in office, the right governor, the right politicians, we get the right propositions in, then we can really get change. Step by step, order by order, proposition by proposition, we can make change. It's not going to be a quick microwave thing. It's for the long term. So we got to be consistent, we got to be committed, and we got to collaborate. That's the only way this is going to work. So together, if we do that, we can create the change that we want to see.
Do you personally know any of these officers?
I don't know any of the officers. I don't even know who organized this event. But nobody stepped up. I just stepped up and somebody stepped up with me. Together we've been able to make this a beautiful event. We've been able to make a beautiful protest. Police cooperate with us. Nobody's getting shot today. Nobody's getting arrested. That is the purpose. That is the goal. We are one today. And the goal is to keep it. By the way, you're getting a lot of supportive comments from my audience. Create the change. C-R-E-8 the change on Instagram, on Facebook. Join us. I'll post some events that we're going to be doing. Just join us. Spread the message. Use your influence to make change wherever you are. Just be positive. Be a leader. Take control of the situation. And remember what we're fighting for. Don't forget what we're fighting for. Remember what we're fighting for. And just don't give up. Don't go back to life.
I have 2 more questions for you. First of all, does Create the Change work as an organization coordinating with the police, or is this something spontaneously you're doing?
Create the Change started in 2016 after Alton Sterling and Fernando after their murders. I put it together, and we're just a non-profit that is trying to do our best to create change. We do house outreach, we do workshops, we do panels, we do community events, and we protest, we fight for social justice. We're just doing whatever we can We're doing whatever we can. We're doing whatever we can just to make a change. So I'm on the Zoom meeting right now.
Just one last thing. What's the latest from the officers? What's the last thing they've told you?
Hey, I hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear.
What's the latest that the officers have told you?
Say it again?
What's the latest that the officers have told you? Like, have they said they're going to continue to let people protest, or are the officers going to disperse? What's the latest they've told you?
Right now, they support us. They say they support us, but they do got to do their job. They got to make sure the rioting doesn't happen, looting doesn't happen, and that does take away from the message. But as long as we communicate to them that, hey, we're not about what you're seeing on the media. We're not the animals that you've made us out to be. Like, we're human beings that just want justice. And I know y'all became cops for a reason. Now y'all didn't just become cops to kill innocent people. Y'all want to protect and serve the communities that you're in. Most of y'all do. So I'm believing in y'all to stand up. I'm believing y'all to stand up.
All right, one last time. Repeat your name and your organization's
My name
name.
is Kevin Welbeck. I'm Create the Change.
Okay, and can they find you on Facebook or where?
Facebook, Instagram, at Create the Change. At Create the Change.
Okay, thank you very much, Kevin.
Thanks so much.
You can find Kevin on Facebook at Create the Change.
I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe!
Officers march north on Van Nuys Boulevard. There continues to be a police line south of here and east of here. Protesters pouring a little more out into Van Nuys Boulevard as officers walk north. You're welcome. I'm glad we managed to get that interview. Kevin has been the man who has been coordinating with the police throughout the past hour or so. And I think I'm going to position myself now. I'm with Coast News and I'm live on the Josh Friedman YouTube channel. Hi. Let's take, officers are now turning right on, is that Irwin? I think so. South of here. There are officers marching north and south of here. Police line holds. The non-Kangaroo News channel is over here still as well. Now supervising officers back into the intersection. Foot traffic among protesters back and forth across the intersection, but relatively calm. I guess Kangaroo 7 is going to be the what is going on here? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, I see what's happening. So the police have now established a line west of Van Nuys Boulevard on Sylvan. Now protesters are walking north. The only way out for protesters right now is north. But there are police situated north of here too. Theoretically, they could shut it down and completely enclose the protesters. For the most part, the protesters are enclosed, but the police do not have a lock or a seal on the street north of here. But I'll go take a look what their setup is north of here. Police line to the west as protesters approach it. Police line to the south and a police line to the east. Let's take a look to the north on Van Nuys Boulevard. A lot of people gathered in the middle of the street on Van Nuys. North of here wow, there are a lot of helicopters flying overhead. I count 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 back there. Or is that a plane back there? Police have a full-on line here. This street is Friar. They don't have a full-on line at Friar, but I can't tell the next street, which might be Victory, I'm not sure. I'll walk down there and take a quick peek. Is it 4:20 right now? So on Van Nuys at Friar, 1 block north of the protest, and there seems to be a larger police line at the next street north of here, which is Victory Boulevard, a major east-west street that runs through the San Fernando Valley. So you can see the police have traffic blocked. The traffic cannot cross South Victory Boulevard on Van Nuys. All other directions are open on the street, or rather the intersection. I don't know if they're letting foot traffic through though. If they're not, then the protesters are encircled, as are these businessmen, I presume. Looks like we have some businesses here. Sir, do you have a business here? So it looks like foot traffic is blocked. I think this confirms that all of the protesters are encircled, because you have a police line blocking off foot traffic on Victory Boulevard, which, like I was saying, is a major east-west street through the San Fernando Valley. And then back down 2 blocks south of here, where the protest is centered, the police have established lines east of Van Nuys and Sylvan, south of Van Nuys and Sylvan, and west of Van Nuys and Sylvan. So all the protesters are effectively encircled, I guess with the exception of this Friar Street being open. There could be police blockades on the side streets though. Some motorcycle officers turning left, or maybe just making a U, or stopping. I'm at the intersection of Van Nuys and Friar, heading south. You see, it's open. Friar's open to the east, and appears open to the west as well. So the protesters, as some retreat, are not entirely encircled. They can exit on Friar, but that's their only route out at the moment. There isn't a full-on trap, but there could be momentarily, or at any moment. This bail bonds business across the street, your way out, is boarded up. I've seen a couple businesses around here boarded up. Has it been declared an unlawful assembly? I see some protesters walking away. Well, a couple hours ago, or maybe an hour ago, I was getting comments saying ABC had reported this was declared an unlawful assembly. I asked Officer Hamilton, I asked the other officer, supervising officer working with him, and he said it has not been declared an unlawful assembly, not yet at least. However, we now have officers approaching the protesters, officers marching north on Van Nuys Boulevard. They may very well be ready to pounce. And these guys look more like a riot squad than the officers we saw. Yes, indeed, new units have come in, and these look like riot squads. I am camped. Yes, they're getting corralled, but there's still a way out on Friars Street north of here. Both east and west, Friar is open. However, there's a police line at Victory Boulevard, which could march south and completely enclose the protesters and myself. I'm gonna see if I could go hang with Kangaroo. You're saying no exit on Friar now? There was one I walked by about 5 minutes ago or less. You're also with Create the Change? You're also with Create the Change?
That's my husband.
Oh, I'm sorry, remind me his name?
Kevin.
I was just interviewing him.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Alright, now perched above the southeast corner of the intersection, you have a police SUV approaching, making some noises. Officers looking like a riot squad lined up. You guys gotta have my back if I'm gonna have yours. Cool. You're with Channel 7 in Australia?
That's right, yeah.
Alright, police SUV pulling up behind the line of protesters east of the intersection. More protesters heading toward this very spot right here. A woman in a green shirt trying to push protesters away from the front of the police line, trying to push them back onto the sidewalk. Yeah, Van Nuys is a much different neighborhood than some of the places, especially I was at on Saturday in the Fairfax district, like Melrose, the Grove. Yeah, I've seen all the police vehicles south of me, some maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago. The crowd directly ahead at the northeast corner of the intersection is far and away the loudest right now. CHP. Interesting. I just noticed that the officers who are now encircling the protesters are California Highway Patrol officers. I think this is like a state riot squad. I'm not positive, but that's my hunch. was just a funny interaction. You guys missed it. I'm sorry. I'll fill you in a bit. Who just got arrested on Van Nuys? So all these officers in the blue and black riot gear have CHP California Highway Patrol patches. They replaced the LAPD officers who were stationed here earlier. ABC7's right above me. There's so many helicopters right above me, I'll try to find it. Channel 7 is right to the left of me, actually. But that's Australian. If you do see me, it wouldn't be the first time over the past 6 days that I've popped up in TV news feeds here in LA. A couple more CHP riot officers joined the line that seems to be the focal point right now. LAPD officer, probably high rank, Chandler is his name, I think, walks by. Protesters say they're going to do a moment of silence as sirens go off in the background. Oh, Kevin is back. The yellow building right across the street, is that which one? Kevin is back telling people, especially the Cali shirt guy, who may very well be drunk, to move away from the police line. What do you mean, what's going on at the yellow building? Right now, all the action is straight ahead of me. I'm really impressed by to what extent Kevin has managed to get people to fall in line. That is his name, right? Oh, okay. Maybe you can see from a news chopper, but I don't see anyone on top of that building, yellow building, with a shotgun. I don't even see anyone on top of the building. So maybe provide an update on that. I'm keeping an eye on the building. I don't see anyone on the roof. I have previously seen people on the roof of the blue building next to it. Oh, he's in one of the windows. Oh. Okay. I do see someone in a window. Peering out of a window. Now he just backed away from the window. When he returns, I'll walk over there. What's going on at Laugh Factory? expect to be stuck in Van Nuys for a while. I don't know if I'll be heading to Hollywood today, but you guys can feel free to chime in about what's going on in Hollywood. Who is Salmon Andy? I keep seeing that name popping up. I don't know who that is. Here are good friends over at Channel 7 Australia. Is Salmon Andy a streamer? Who is he? Oh, Henok's on the chat. Thank you, Henok. Really? So a YouTuber has been arrested. Was he here in Van Nuys? Well, that's a little discomforting to hear, as we have a police videographer walking underneath me, pointing the camera, panning the camera at the crowd. Well, I'd appreciate any updates we can get on this Salmon Andy guy. I don't know who he is, so I can't really say anything or comment, but I would like to know what updates we can get. I just want to speak with the supervising officer. It's a photographer, it says on the officer's shirt. People gathered rather quietly, but in a large group in the intersection and just east of the intersection where Kevin is giving somewhat of a talk. More CHP reinforcements. I presume you guys can't hear the chants. There's someone saying "say it loud" and then the crowd screams "black and brown." Well, what is LA without a car chase on the news? It's getting sunny again, so I'm going to try to shield the camera a little bit from the sun, or rather the phone. Also a bit of a breeze, maybe that'll help. Oh, Second Earth is on. That's Philippe, right? Is that so? Can anyone confirm that? I guess you're referring to Salmon Andy, that he walked across a police line and called an officer a princess. Can anyone confirm that? Or do we not know anything? The crowd is now really congregated right here in front of us, in front of the police line on Sylvan east of Van Nuys. There's still people spread across the intersection, but the crowd is very heavily congregated right in front of us. And if you guys were just answering the question about Sam and Andy, I missed it. I wasn't looking. I don't see how they'd have any grounds to arrest me for standing here as press and filming. But I would like to hear more about that situation with this other YouTuber. It's confirmed what? Confirmed that he got arrested, or confirmed that he also, I mean, that's, he walked across police line, called Officer a princess, and was arrested. Can anyone confirm that story? Oh, comments going too fast. Wow, if he was arrested live on the stream, then wow. Confirmed I was watching. Wow, well, when the action here is said and done, I'll have to take a look at what happened myself. Crowd packs in more here east of the intersection, and now some people scream sidewalk. Here's our buddy Callie. I think he's risking it by walking so close to the officers and screaming. Sometimes someone gets a little close, it instigates an officer shoves and protesters shove back, and now Callie's trying to motion some people back. Thus far, Kevin has done a remarkable job at keeping the protesters either on the sidewalk or away from the police, and I see him straight ahead of me across the street talking to people. I guess with some assistance from other telling people to get away from the front of the police line. What? Mike Bliss?
Yeah, how you doing? I've been watching your live videos. They're dope, man.
How long have you been out here?
I just got here like 15 minutes ago.
How'd you get through the police line?
I walked the alley back there.
On the next street, Friar?
Parallel to Van Nuys. Behind Van Nuys. Whatever that is.
So they're letting foot traffic in through here?
Yeah.
Come up here and join me if you want.
Nice. I parked over there and then like right behind all their cop cars. And then, yeah, they're letting people through.
I'm having a bit of a rendezvous with a childhood friend. I might introduce you guys shortly. You're a rock star now, right?
Trying to be, man.
When they calm down, I'll bring you on camera if you want and talk about your music. 667 watching right now.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, it seems like you've got a big presence on there. That's awesome.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have a very big presence, but I'm in a lot of places. So what's going on at Friar and Vespar, or whatever street that is? Friar is 1 block north of here, but I'm not leaving here. This is where the action is right now. Someone wants to hear about Mike's music, and I'll bring Mike on to talk about his music when the crowd quiets down a little bit. Oh, joking, please don't. Well, anyway, I will. I mean, it's funny that of all places in the world, that I happen to be right in the middle of some major protest action. It's like literally in my backyard in the San Fernando Valley where I grew up. All right, pop on really quick. You go by Mike?
Yeah, Mike Liss.
All right, guys, childhood friend of mine, Mike Liss, who is a rock star now.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Tell everyone about yourself and what brings you out here.
So I'm just helping to support the Black Lives Matter cause, and just wanted to and it's great to be here. Great to run into Josh. That's awesome. Crazy. Yeah.
They're saying we have 666 viewers right now.
Oh wow.
Well, what do you? Oh, I mean, openly, as in. Never mind. Forget it. It was we've got live stream humor.
Okay.
So you support the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yes, I do. Yeah, so I just came out to support the movement and yeah, do what I can.
All right. So what? Are you part of a band? Or are you solo? What's
I'm
your?
a freelance guitarist, so I play for whoever will hire me. Basically, my different social media on Instagram, it's Mike Liss Music, or same on YouTube. You can find me on Mike Liss Music. But basically, I'm a freelance guitar player in the LA area, and I've played for a bunch of different artists, including Faith Evans, Vanity Kane, Julian Crampton Band, Auburn Road. So I'm just kind of a freelance hired gun.
And don't you tour sometimes, or?
Yeah, I do some touring with various groups that I'm with.
Oh, they can't hear you. We'll chat louder.
Okay.
I mean later and louder too. No justice, no peace is the chant. Find Sam and Andy. Well, if he's in jail, I'd rather not find him. I'd rather that he find me. Oh, his stream is still on? So what's the deal? They just detained him and let him go? If I get some clarity on that, then I'll look. Oh, he just got detained and he's sitting on the street. That's much ado about nothing. Kevin continues to talk with the officers. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Do you see the black guy, black shirt, black pants, who's got the black shirt? It says "Create the Change" on there. He's putting his hand up. Straight ahead.
You have the sign or no?
No, he's got his back turned to us right now.
Okay, yeah.
Black shirt, black.
Around right there. Yeah. I see him, yeah.
Later, when he's not in a crowd of people, can you go over and ask his full name?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, where is Salmon? Or tell Salmon to find me, and I'll interview him.
For what reason? What should I tell him? I'm asking his full name.
You can tell him that the journalist who interviewed him earlier I'm pretty sure his first name's Kevin. I forget his last name.
Okay.
As LAPD officers, where is Salmon? Is he detained? Learn not to call me in the middle of my streams. Friar and Vesper is where he's detained. All right, but I don't think I can even get off of Van Nuys Boulevard anymore. I'll go take a look here. All right, I'm walking north through the intersection of Van Nuys and Sylvan, headed toward Friar, where I can't tell if the side streets are blocked off or no. It looks like they're not. North on Van Nuys Boulevard, half a block away from Friar now. Now, is he right or left? Do I turn right or left on Friar? Right, left. Okay, people are saying left. Well, I want to have a conversation with the officer here first. This law office has got a Black Lives Matter sign on it. So it appears they're letting people turn onto Friar, but I don't want to get boxed out of the protest. Officer, is Friar open to traffic? Is Friar open to foot traffic? I can walk there and then walk back this way? Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, it looks like protesters are dispersing. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is cue for me to get out of here. Protesters are marching in my direction. All right, I'm walking down Friar, heading west. And I can't see the comments very well because there's a lot of sun. People are saying it's about to be curfew. How far? Because I don't want to walk super far away from the protest. Yeah, there's been a big protest for hours. People are starting to leave though. Have you seen if someone's getting arrested down here? How far down Friar? Because I don't want to walk forever. Next street. Alright, I see a police line as protesters head north on Van Nuys Boulevard. It looks like the protest might be ending, or maybe some of them are gonna follow curfew and get out of there. I don't know what. There's a parking lot. Where is the parking lot? Okay, here's Vesper. That's what you guys are saying. Friar and Vesper. I'm at Friar and Vesper. I see a parking lot over there. I see a parking lot here and here. Where the cops are? Where these cops are? You're saying it happened right here. Now someone's saying he's gone. or you think he's arrested and inside one of the vehicles. I'm gonna see if I can speak to a supervising officer. Officer, are you a supervising officer?
No, what do you need?
I'd just like to know, has a man who's screaming kind of like this been detained here? Has there been a man detained right here?
Here, no.
Somewhere around this intersection?
Not sure. I won't be able to.
Do we know his actual name? Okay, Armando. Is it possible to ask another officer whether an Armando has been detained at this intersection? Thank you very much, officer. As protesters, some of whom have dispersed, including the blue hat lady who was on the megaphone earlier, some are now walking in my direction. Right now they're saying there's an unlawful assembly here.
You'll be subject to arrest.
Officer, I'm waiting on a response from Officer Ramirez.
We don't know.
He doesn't know? Yeah, Officer Ramirez told me. Alright guys, look, I gotta get out of here. They're threatening me, so sorry. I mean, that's what I can do for now. So I'm gonna walk south. I'm gonna walk south on. Actually, I'm not crazy about the looks of this. Here we are again. Our situation is last night. There's police lines to the left of me. And they're screaming out, you need to disperse or be arrested. Not screaming, but over a loudspeaker, as they typically do when they declare something an unlawful assembly. So now I'm back at Sylvan Street. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. But I'm behind police lines now. So the crowd... There still is a crowd. One block straight ahead, east of here, is where I was almost the entire time, Van Nuys and Sylvan, and a crowd remains there, although it looks like most people are walking away. I wonder if Kevin or some of the protesters themselves encouraged people to leave. I don't know, but this position isn't doing me a whole lot of good. And I'm gonna try to walk south and circle around if possible. I don't know who Miguel is. See people in hoods walking to my right. Not crazy about the look of that. It looks like there's traffic south in Van Nuys Boulevard. I'll try to see if I can get a glimpse of what's going on. I'm now heading back to Van Nuys Boulevard, as some people who look like they're part of the protest head away. If indeed, I don't know, but if indeed a fellow streamer, not that I call myself a streamer, but someone out here doing what I'm doing, documenting the protest, if he was indeed arrested while doing his job, then that's something that concerns me, and it's something I'd like to get answers about and help out with if possible. I don't know what happened, but you guys seem to be intent that he was arrested at that location, at that corner that I got to. So I tried. Alright, back to Vanna's Boulevard, around the police line. I'm now at Van Nuys and Irwin. And we'll see, oh wow, what a line of highway patrol cars. These are all CHP cars, or at least most of them. And they may have been the vehicles that brought in the state riot squad that seems to be doing most of the enforcing and has been for the past hour or so. It looks like the vast majority of the protesters have left Sylvan and Van Nuys. There's still some people hanging around close to the intersection, but it looks like they're almost all gone. Someone's saying we all did. Were you part of the protest? Here's a look at the CHP officers standing in a line, vehicles lined up 3 or 4 rows deep outside the federal building and the Civic Center complex here in Van Nuys. It seems to be dying down, which is a huge change of pace from what I've seen over the past 3 days. Because every major protest I've been to over the past few days, I guess dating back to Friday, has turned into rioting. But this one appears not.
Oh, it's a good idea though, right?
Now I'm at the corner of Van Nuys and Delano. Van Nuys jail right there. I forget which building's the jail. It's been a while. I know the courthouse is right here also. Riding a target? Is that so, and where? Suddenly it's gone very quiet here. Remarkably quiet. Don't see any National Guard, just see a whole lot of CHP cars and officers with CHP patches. As Van Nuys Boulevard has all but fallen silent. It is too quiet, a little spooky. People are in victory in Van Nuys. Okay, I could try walking north. Although I don't want to walk into a trap. I feel more comfortable here. Because if I take some of these side streets, I could get encircled at any moment. But let's keep an eye on what happens around Victory. As now it's almost as if there's some normalcy returned to Van Nuys Boulevard. At least in the right south lane of the street. I don't want to walk into a trap. South, it's almost completely normal. There's one block south of here with very little traffic, and after that it's pretty much normal flow of traffic. Looting at which target? I addressed this last night. I believe the officers have absolutely no grounds to arrest me after curfew when I'm out here on the job reporting and exercising the First Amendment. That doesn't mean, though, that they aren't going to choose to do so anyway. Last night in downtown, the officers made it very clear that I had to get the hell out of there. Yeah, which target at which streets? On Sepulveda. Alright, so Sepulveda is west of here. It'd probably be like a 20 or 30 minute walk. And that's a large target, actually. It's like 2 or 3 floor target with a big parking structure attached. At least it was previously. Haven't been there in years. I've never seen police over the past 5 days hit homeless or an old man. I was interviewed on We Are Change today. You can find that on the We Are Change channel. Says he's got an album coming out. Well, the protesters have scattered. But is there a pocket of them at Victory? I can't tell. Yeah, what happened to Noodle Man? That's another good question. Someone was tweeting at me that I filmed someone... I forget what his Instagram account was, but someone got arrested, and I was wondering if that was Noodle Man. And I really hope, for lack of a better name, Noodle Man was released and got out alright. A reference to last night's downtown stream. Yeah, what's happening at Van Nuys and Victory? Is there a cluster of protesters there? Oh, Noodle Man is Captain 777. Alright, well, I hope Captain 777 was ultimately released. I don't know what happened. Alright, I'm going to take a loop around. This is going to be a long loop around. And I'm going to head... I'm not going to walk through this because then I'm putting myself in between multiple police lines. Let's see what this... Officer, are you a supervising officer?
I'm Sergeant.
Okay, Sergeant Zane, I believe it is. Sergeant Zane is... You're with the California Highway Patrol, correct?
I am, sir.
And what is this force CHP for? What is the policing that's going on right now north of here? Are there still protesters or no?
My understanding is they've been given an order to disperse, so I don't know that there are still... My understanding is people are dispersing right now.
No arrests are being made.
I'm not at that location, so I wouldn't be able to advise.
Okay, thank you very much, Sergeant Zane.
Hey, have a good day.
You too. All right, let's loop around here. What did you guys hear that? I mean, regardless, there wasn't all that much to hear. He says that he thinks most people are dispersing and doesn't know if there are any arrests. Okay, yeah, I just repeated it, but I'll repeat it again. He's Sergeant Zane. That was Sergeant Zane with the California Highway Patrol. All those officers you're seeing are CHP, State of California officers. And he says that he thinks most people are dispersing. It's getting bright. And that he does not know whether or not there are any arrests. I know there's some police blockades in this neighborhood, but nonetheless, as you see a helicopter focusing in about, I don't know, maybe 5 blocks north of here, at least pointing in the direction. I am going to try to loop around and see if I could walk all the way around north of the police line to get a better picture of what's going on north of here. We'll see. It's going to be a bit of a walk. You can see officers lined up here outside. Is it the jail, the courthouse? I forget which. These officers have been there have been officers lined up here for hours. And there have been similar roadblocks to this around the neighborhood. As I start giggling, I guess times aren't that tense. And the helicopter continues to fly low north of here, possibly pointing in the direction of Van Nuys and Victory. I don't know. I don't think I've had an issue with my signal being jammed at all today. At one point, my feed went down, but that was because the phone overheated. What happened, or what's happened to me, is that I'm walking east at the moment, trying to loop around north of where many protesters were dispersing, which was in the direction of Victory and Van Nuys. I did not find Mondo. If Mondo you mean is Andy Salmon, I did not find him. And I did not manage to get an answer from the officers. A commanding officer said he would try to provide me an answer, but within moments, another officer indicated that I wasn't going to get an answer and I needed to get out of there. They're at Van Nuys and where? I missed that comment. When I reached the intersection of Friar and whatever that street was, where supposedly Andy Salmon was, I did see some police vehicles, but they were a little far off. Couldn't tell if anyone was in them. As you can see, there are a lot of streets in this neighborhood blocked off. And some vans straight ahead on this street, Tyrone, that I think are buses. There are buses on this street, Tyrone, helicopter over there, that I think are used to take people to the jail. And there is a jail right here. I'm walking this way. Van Nuys and Victory. Is that where there still are? Try to loop around north of there. It's going to be a little walk though. Again, I don't want to get trapped between police lines when they're rounding people up, if they're rounding people up, and I don't really know what's happening there. Yeah, I'm still walking on Delano, I think. Is this Delano Street? Thank you. Or Delano. I might have had that wrong. They say we're on Delano. I am not pleased with the state of press freedom in this country right now. And I think it's something that we need to use or risk losing. I'm using it. So east on Delano we go. Delano. Does anyone want to finish off that debate? I missed someone saying something about downtown LA. I missed it. I think I'm getting close to Hazeltine. I'm not positive, but I think. If the next north-south street ahead is Hazeltine, then I'll go north on Hazeltine and see if I can loop around that way. I park at undisclosed locations. Although, for those of you tuned in yesterday, you got to see a couple times where I parked. Fairly lively street here. Crowds gathered out in front of homes. And so, some crowds gathered out in front of homes. Some people very friendly. Someone shaking his head, don't film. Thank you. I think this is Hazeltine. Burned car parked at the end of what street? Or was that yesterday? I certainly saw that yesterday in Santa Monica. Okay, it is indeed Hazeltine. And I'm gonna turn left and head north on Hazeltine. You can still see a fair amount of traffic here. Oh, those are a few protesters. Excuse me. Did people head north on Van Nuys to Victory?
People are done protesting.
I mean,
If anybody's north, those are looters, and the cops are watching out for them.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Be careful.
All right, did you guys hear that? I'm flipping the camera around. So I don't know if you guys heard that. Probably not. 3 protesters, 3 people I recognize from the protest, said all the protesters have left and that the people who are north of where the protest was taking place are looters and the cops are going after them. So I don't want a repeat of some recent times, but I will walk north a ways and just keep back away from police lines and see what I see. But it sounds like protesters have cleared out unless someone has contradictory information. Protesters sitting in the intersection at Victory and Van Nuys. Is that so? Do we have a news feed of them? I've filmed enough looting. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you can go to other videos on the channel, the most recent videos, past few live streams. Except for downtown last night. Didn't film looting downtown last night. But no shortage of looting in the previous 2 videos. I don't need to deal with any more of that. But let's see if I can get a view from the north or the east of what's happening around Van Nuys and Victory. As now I come up on Sylvan. So down this street is where the protest took place over at Van Nuys Boulevard. What about Captain Noodles? Captain 777, and I hope he's doing all right. But yeah, maybe he wants your support on Instagram at Captain 777. Cops surrounding what? I'm sorry, I missed that. Not much looting. I can confirm the Target and Sepulveda being looted. I might drive over to the Target on Sepulveda after I finish with this stream, but I'm not gonna walk over there. And I don't want to get right in the middle of the action anyway. I've got no shortage of film of that stuff from Fairfax specifically and Santa Monica as well. I've been trying, I don't know how many of you guys follow We Are Change, but today Luke Radowski had me on the broadcast. We did an interview on the We Are Change channel today about what's happening in LA. He chimed in a bit about what's happening in New York, where he's based. And he also put out a request to try to help me track someone down. Someone's saying Target's not being looted, to come out with me. And I've also been in talks with one friend of mine. I'm trying to get someone who wants to come out with me to provide me a little backup. At the moment, no one. And likewise, I'm still yet to replace my helmet, which I was robbed of Saturday night. And I really need to get a new helmet ASAP. Okay, I've reached Victory Boulevard. I guess I will turn left and head in the direction of Victory and Van Nuys. Although I would be walking right into the sun. So, you know what? If I put on my sunglasses, I'm not going to see the comments. I'm just going to... You live in Panorama and you'll go with me. You guys can message me on Instagram at Nomad Journalist, or on Twitter at Freeman Reporter. That's F, he needs a date, LOL. Hopefully a girl, not a guy. 2 helicopters flying right here, one flying very low near Victory and Van Nuys. Yeah, you can message me on Twitter at Freeman Reporter. FreemanReporter, Freeman Reporter, on Instagram at Nomad Journalist. Exactly how it sounds, Nomad Journalist. But I'll probably be a bit selective. Gotta have some standards, huh? Yeah, it would have been nice to have been armed Saturday night, that's for sure. Or for that matter, yesterday, but yesterday I need to get out of Santa Monica regardless because the numbers were just not in my favor whatsoever. Hi, how's it going? Helicopter continues flying low in the air and focused around the intersection ahead of Van Nuys and Victory. Oh, maybe I will meet up with Sandy Ammon, or is it Andy Salmon? Or Salmon Andy. I mean, that's another good reason for me to try to go check on him. I still don't really know who he is. I'm just learning about him from you guys. I'm starting to get close to Victory, but first I'll hit Tyrone. It's a little dusty here. I'm trying to hold back a sneeze as I walk by a construction site and some dirt kicks up. Okay, I see police cars ahead. There appears to be some action. Interesting. We've got what looks like a Hummer with an Armenian and an American flag in the back. Reminds me of someone I once knew around this neighborhood. Van Owen might be a safer bet, you're right. Well, I mean, I don't know either way. But Van Owen would put me north of Victory, which is what I wanted initially. So I might turn up Tyrone. Or I might just have a look here on Van Nuys at the action from the east. Alright, across Tyrone I go. West on Victory, headed toward Van Nuys. Big 5 getting hit on Van Nuys? I hope not. Ammo and shotguns looted? That could be intense. The Big 5 on Van Nuys is north of here. I'm passing by you right now. Who are you? Where are you? I could use a lot of things from Big 5. I could use a helmet, although Luke has instructed me to go buy a motorcycle helmet. Someone knows where I can get a motorcycle helmet around here. That would be a huge help. Sirens sounding as I approach Sylvan, which I think is one street, one block. Uh-oh, I see people running around. East of... Uh-oh, people running. Those could be looters. In which case, yeah, I want to get out of here. Alright, I've seen enough. Alright, I see large crowds with hoods over their heads. I don't like the look of that. Alright, I'm changing things up today. I've filmed loot enough. I'm with that. You've gone to see... Why can't I block off the sun? I've filmed looting enough. You can see looting on the channel in the previous videos, previous streams. You got to see this protest. Maybe 5 or 10 protesters who remain. So I'm gonna wrap up this stream. I see we've already gone over 3 hours. Thank you very much for everyone who's been tuned in. You can catch more of these streams on the channel. Subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified. And more reporting live and on the ground from around the world, but for now in Los Angeles on the Josh Friedman channel, coming up soon. So thank you very much for joining me, and have a good evening, and see you sometime soon. Goodbye.